Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Cleveland Stage Door. My name is Jimmy Davis. This week, we have a special guest from the show, Peter Pan, flying into Cleveland at Playoff Square April 9th through the 13th, 2025. He plays Captain Hook, comedic sidekick, Mr. Smee. Joining me today is the hilarious Kurt Perry. We talk Disney, his take on going from TV to the stage, his adaptation of Mr. Smee, and more. Next on Cleveland Stage Door. And welcome my guest, Kurt Perry. He plays Mr. Smee. Kurt, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Kurt, you are over in our arch nemesis this week, Pittsburgh. I hope you are enjoying your time over there, and you come over here next week. You come over to Cleveland April 9th through the 13th at Playoff Square for Peter Pan.
Absolutely.
And so tell me, let's start off the conversation. What is the biggest difference between the movie and the musical that's coming to town?
Sure. So the original recorded version with Mary Martin from the 1950s, we have had the opportunity to rewrite a lot of the book with our fantastic book writer Larissa Fasthorse, who is the Indigenous playwright, the first openly Indigenous person to be nominated for a Tony Award. And she has given us a brand new book that sort of cleans up some of the more problematic aspects of the original story. And it also gives us an opportunity to amplify the voices of our female characters. And so there are some new things. We have a new song with new lyrics by Amanda Green, who is the daughter of Comden and Green. And it's called Friends Forever. And so there are these changes to make it more contemporary a little bit, but all the magic is still there. That's what I love about this musical, is that every generation has their own version of Peter Pan that was really important to them and really formative. So I like to think that this is a good opportunity for parents, grandparents, great-grandparents maybe, to introduce young people to not only theater but the story of Peter Pan.
Absolutely. And what do you enjoy most about playing Mr. Smee? He's one of the most comedic values of the movie. And what do you enjoy playing about him?
Yeah, I love the comedy is so fun, and it's just a really lovely opportunity to sort of just have a really good time on stage. And I share that spotlight with Cody Garcia, who's our Captain Hook. And, I think we have such great chemistry, and we've both been on the tour since the beginning. So we have had so much time to sort of build this give and take, this relationship, this back and forth that I'm personally really, really proud of.
That's amazing. How did you prepare for the role?
It's funny. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
This is so it's funny because I didn't really have a lot of familiarity with the story of Peter Pan. I sort of knew about it in a very general sense. I'd seen the Disney movie once or twice. I had kind of I understood some of it from cultural osmosis. But I didn't really know any specifics. I had never seen the Mary Martin version. I had never seen the Kathy Rigby version. I knew I Got a Crow. I knew, I probably knew the song Neverland if I heard it. But it was just not a show that was on my radar as a young person. So when I came to audition for it, I basically said, well, I don't really know anything about the show. I'm just going to kind of do my own thing. Yeah. I sort of just treated it as a whatever. Because I did want to work with the team, because we have such a fantastic team, just a dream team of Broadway. Lauren Lataro, Lonnie Price, Andy Einhorn. It's such an incredible team. And so I was really enthusiastic about that. But I sort of was on the show. So I went in, I did the material, and I like put it on tape, and I sent it off, and I didn't really think anything of it because at the time I was auditioning. I was doing Music Man, and then I was auditioning for like 3 other shows at that theater, and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to book these 3 shows, this tour, whatever. And I booked these 3 shows, and then I kept getting called back. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And then I got back. I happened to get back to New York, and they did my final callback. And it's funny, we did the final callback. I met Lonnie. I was so excited. I was like, well, if nothing else happens, at least like I met Lonnie, I met Andy, I met Lauren. It's like, oh, this is great. And I did the final scene, and we were like, great. They were like, thank you so much, great. And so then I'm getting ready to leave, and as a habit, I stay like 5 minutes after my audition, just because you never know. Yeah. And I happened to be like, I was like, okay, my 5 minutes are up. I'm going to go watch the door. I watched the elevator. So I was the last person of the day. I said hello to a friend who worked at the front desk at the audition studio. I'm waiting for the elevator, and the girl who was my reader comes out. Really lovely, nice girl. She's probably like 22. And we're standing there. It was sort of standing in the elevator, and I'm like, she goes, I think you got it. She was like, they really liked you, and I was like, oh, great. And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh, what a nice thing, because like you always want to say like you always want to like say that to people, and I was like, oh, she's so nice, and I got the call.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's so great. That's such a great story. So how do you balance the humor with the serious moments in the show, as that comedic value of the character?
Well, I don't, for me, that's not really a big struggle for me because so much of my humor and the way that I interpret comedy is based in truth. For me, comedy has to be based in reality because reality is funny. It's about reality, and it's about the undercutting thereof. So like when I work with this stuff with Smee, I sort of have to think quite hard. I have to go, okay, how would I react to this situation in a humorous way? Or like, how would I diffuse this situation? So because everything is rooted in reality and rooted in like, seriousness is not the word. It's about like, what would you actually do if you had a hook in your face? It's not like, you would not go, because nobody reacts like it. You'd be like, oh, Jesus Christ. Get that thing out of my face. It's that kind of thing where it's like, how do you temper what like the expectation of like, with what you just like, so that's sort of because my reaction, the way that I play the role is so rooted in what I consider to be reality. When we get to the serious stuff, it's just that's also reality because that's the way the world works. There's serious stuff and there's funny stuff.
Right, exactly. And let me ask you this: what are any behind-the-scene moments or mishaps that's happened within the time you've played Peter Pan so far?
I think we've been pretty honestly, not a lot of mishaps. I will say when we were throughout the story, we've been like rewriting. Larissa was rewriting the script for quite a long time. Because we started in October of 2023, and we did like our week of rehearsal. We went and did our and then we did a month in St. Paul, and then we took a couple of weeks off, and then we were on tour, and we opened in Baltimore. We were still writing the script for 2 months after that.
Wow!
Just trying to, because like it's ever evolving, and it's like a work in progress, and and it got to the point in St. Paul where I was sort of like a mishmash, like a when you mash up an avocado and it's just sort of a mess before it's guacamole. That's where I was. My whole brain was not functioning, and the one day we had gotten a new rewrite, and in the middle of one of those things, I just forgot. Like it was gone. And I was supposed to, I can't even remember it now because it's several drafts ago. It was funny because I was supposed to say a line and I couldn't remember what the line was. And I looked at Cody and I looked, because we're on stage with like 6 or 7 other people. One of our ensemble members who also plays Mrs. Darling, Shefali Deshpande, we heard the music cue for what was supposed to come after my line, but all of us were frozen and didn't know what to do. And Shefali by herself goes, yo ho, the swimmable Captain Hook. Just very quietly. and she's the only one to do it. And we were she was the MVP of that show. Um, so yeah, my brain was like a little bit mush at that point. As as it happens when you're doing doing a show in development.
Yeah,
I mean, there are apocryphal stories of that happening with all sorts of shows, but yeah, that was the one that
absolutely.
I harkened back to it because I was like, I think my brain was so toasted that I was like, where am I? What city
Yeah,
am I in? What
exactly.
show am I doing?
Oh man, that sounds like it was a blast.
We had we Lonnie comes up to me afterwards and goes, something went wrong. And I was like, mm-hmm, sure did.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say
I
so
would
for
say that
sure.
that's an accurate
Yeah,
representation of the situation.
yeah, exactly. Definitely, definitely. So, let me ask you this: if you could play any character in the show, what would it be other than Mr. Smee?
In Peter Pan, well, I I love Peter's music. Like I love Neverland. We actually restored a song from the pre-Broadway trial called "When I Went Home," which was cut for the Broadway production because they thought
Interesting.
it was too sad. But I love that song. It's my favorite song of the show. So probably Peter.
Interesting. Okay, that's
We'd be a
awesome.
lot. We need a lot more flymen.
So, let me ask you this: you've done some TV stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, I ask this to every person that I know that's done TV and stage. How is it compared to performing in front of cameras to compared to performing on stage in front of live audiences?
It's it's just a different art form. So I equate it because I am also an opera singer. I equate it to
Okay,
the difference between opera and musical theater. It's sort of like opera, musical theater, straight theater, film and TV. It just sort of it just from the size of the gestures, but at the end of the day, the impulses are the same. It's just you have to remember that you have a big stage to look at when you're doing theater, and then you only have this to look at in film and TV. So you have to sort of adjust the size of stuff. Um, but to be fair, with a lot of, because like I've done like some like New York procedurals, the cop dramas, and those are sort of very grounded and sort of very serious. But a lot of the time, I'm doing sort of elevated stuff on film and TV as well. So like the Kimmy Schmidts, the 30 Rocks, that like those sort of like a lot of my film stuff has been sort of that kind of level, which is not as grounded. So I'd say it's pretty similar to theater in many ways.
so you like set the perfect bridge for me. What type of role is your favorite type of role to play?
You know what's funny? Me, no. But it's funny because I get the opportunity to play these kind of comedic roles a lot, and I love doing it. The Niceleys, the Smees, the LeFous, those are really lovely roles. I love doing them. But I have recently had some opportunities to work with some more serious material. I'm Secret Garden is a dream show. Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812 is a dream show. It's Pierre. Archibald and Secret Garden, Pierre and Natasha Pierre. Um, Enoch Snow and Carousel. These are all sort of roles that were drifting in my orbit for a long time. And I've auditioned for them a lot of times. And things happen and people evolve and all that fun stuff. But those are probably like three of my dream roles at this point. Um, but then on the other end of the scope, I'm like, I literally am in the middle of like trying to convince a theater to cast me as Ursula. So you got to do both.
I
You got
just
to do
saw
both
your
kind of
Instagram
works.
video. I literally just watched your Instagram video
Oh,
of you that you just posted on Instagram of you
that's
singing
funny.
that.
That audition video is funny because they actually called me in for a different role, and I said, could I? And they were like, sure, give it a shot. And I was like, okay.
That's incredible. That was so good too. That was so
Thank you.
great. That was
Thank you.
amazing.
I worked hard on that. I think Ursula is a great. My coach. It's so funny because like when you talk about like Ursula, it is sort of she's so clear cut and so simple in many ways. But because she's so clear cut and simple, you can't just make her two dimensional. You have to like you have to flesh her out a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
that's part of the joy of what I get to do.
Absolutely. And I saw on your Instagram, that you recently visited Disney World. So
Uh,
let
you know what's funny? I go to Disney World too often.
me too.
While I've been on this tour, I will have been there 4 times.
Wow.
So we were in Orlando doing Peter Pan at the Dr. Phillips Center, and
Wow.
friends of friends, we all got in for free. It was great. Then I had planned a Disney vacation at that end of the week because we had a layoff, and my mom came down, my best friend and their partner came down, and we spent a week at the Grand Floridian.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
um, then I happened to have a layoff and some leftover Disney Vacation Club points that a friend of mine gifted me for my birthday in March. So I was staying at Saratoga Springs, and then I'm
Nice.
going again right before the end of the tour, where I have a couple days off.
You have
So
annual passes at least, right?
I don't, and I don't.
Oh.
I'm not going quite enough for that to make sense, but I'm very close.
Ah.
Very close.
So I was pivoting to ask, like, Cosmic Rewind is the most incredible ride you've ever ridden,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Like that is the most incredible.
Here's the hot take. I don't think Cosmic Rewind is the best ride on property, which is controversial.
Oh,
I think it's Rise of the Resistance.
I love Rise. Rise is
I would put
incredible too.
Rise and Cosmic. Cosmic's just because Rise is the I think the story is better.
Yes.
That's all.
Yeah. I agree. The theming is much better.
Only when Rise is on A plot though.
Yeah.
Once it gets to B and C, it's sort of like. But no, I love Cosmic Rewind. I love Rise. We rode Rise 3 times in a row last time my friends and I were there because we just kept doing the single rider line.
I rode Rise on opening day, and that was incredible. When the guns were moving, when everything, like when it was fully functional.
So I've been really lucky. I've ridden it in Florida. I've ridden it 6 times, and in California, I've ridden it twice. Oh yeah, also we did a couple days at Disneyland while we were in California. It's been a lot of Disney.
It's a must, yeah.
And everything was working. He was working. The guns were working. So
wow.
like I've been very lucky that everything's been working as long as I've been there. So
nice.
We're hoping to continue the streak.
Yes. So you already answered the one question I always ask is, what's your dream show to be in? Mm-hmm. The other question I ask every single person is,
so just to elaborate on that first question.
Yes.
The real dream is someone to write something for you.
Okay.
That's what every actor wants. Every actor wants to originate a role. Everybody wants to create a role. Everyone wants to create a role in a hit Broadway show. That's what we all want. So that's the real answer to that question.
Love it. The other question I ask every single person I talk to is, if you could go back to the very first day of you getting into this career, what is one piece of advice you would tell yourself?
Get into dance class.
Love it.
Because I took dance as a kid, and I still retain most of those skills. What I would go back and tell my 8-year-old self is stay in dance class.
Interesting. Okay.
I think that is if there was one message I could send, it would be stay in dance class. If I had 2 messages, it would be literally ignore everybody that you meet under the age of 25. I spent my high school, college career being told that I would never be successful as a performer, that I was not worthy of being successful as a performer because of my size, because of my femininity, because of any plethora of things. I was lucky to find a couple people who were really supportive, but a lot of the people I interacted with in high school and college were not supportive of me. So, and it's funny. My mom jokes that she's like, you have to become successful because you're going to become successful out of spite. And I was like, no, listen, it's a joke, but every joke is a kernel of truth.
That's that question. It's I get different answers every single time. I've asked that question 51 times now, and I've gotten that answer 51 different times. It's crazy. Well, Kurt, thank you so much for joining me. This was awesome. I'm sorry I'm keeping you a little bit over than our
No, you're
scheduled
totally
time.
fine.
See Peter Pan and the entire cast. Kurt is going to be in town April 9th through the 13th at Playhouse Square. Tickets are available at playhousesquare.org. I can't wait to see it. I'll be there on the 9th. And tickets, like I said, are available at playhousesquare.org. It's going to be a great show. I'm excited to see it. So, Kurt, thank you so much. Any last remarks?
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure, and I can't wait to come visit Cleveland.
Yeah, I can't wait. And here's a special preview that the show sent us, and enjoy. And I'll let you know what I think after the show. Thanks, y'all.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
I'm flying. Look at me, way up high. Suddenly, here am I'm flying. I'm flying. I can soar, I can weave, and what's more, I'm not even trying. And that's my home, where dreams are born, and time is never planned. Just think of lovely things, and your heart will fly on wings forever in never, never land. This way to Neverland.